Back in the days when it was common practice for registered longhorn cattle breeders to name their bulls after Civil War generals, and diesel fuel cost less than $1 a gallon, my dad and I were out team roping on a perfectly matched pair of black mules. Grandpa called them Missouri mules. They were full brothers, the products of a mammoth jack crossed with a AA rated thoroughbred mare. Tall and lean, they were all legs and ears. I was so proud of those mules. Anthony was a gentle giant at over 17 hands tall. He was so kind and loving that Dad even trusted him with the grandkids. We never pushed our luck that far with Jessie. He was a little more on the waspy side, and we respected that. As I gaze upon the empty pastures where those two mules once grazed, this old world seems a lot lonelier now. It's hard to believe that we lost Anthony a year ago, and Jessie is gone now too. Towards the end of their lives, they might not have looked like much to the untrained eye, but in their prime, those two mules were champions. Our time together began 30 years ago. Jessie was just a 2-year-old colt, and Anthony was 3. Neither one had been started when we got them, but they were both fairly gentle on the ground. Dad and I spent the first couple of years breaking those mules to ride and training them for team roping. They were both still young and green when we hauled them to that first mule show in Riverdale. And though they were competing against mules that had years of competitive experience, Anthony and Jessie managed to win and place in enough events that Jessie walked away with the roping and penning buckle. During that year, we placed on those two mules at Bishop, we won at Winnemucca, and we took first place in the team roping at the Busted Ass Ranch in Arley, Montana. This was a 4-steer average, and we were the only team to rope all 4 of our steers. Dad and I were awarded buckles and $500 each. You can probably see from the sour look on that promoter's face that them boys didn't take too kindly to getting their Montana asses kicked by a couple of mules from California. By the end of that first year, at the age of 4, Jessie was awarded a buckle from the American Mule Association for being their world champion roping mule. Anthony was runner-up, and he even placed in some jumping events along the way. Our lives got busier, and we stopped going to the mule shows, but we continued to cowboy on Anthony and Jessie, and they packed their fair share of T-posts and barbed wire into remote areas where fences needed to be built. The images on the screen barely scratch the surface of the countless memories I have floating around in my head of the experiences Dad and I shared with those two Mule Brothers. There was the time when that sorry old renegade longhorn bull took a downhill run at Jessie and I. I was riding Jessie at the time, and we were trapped in the thick brush with nowhere to go. That ill-tempered bull shoved one of his horns 18 inches deep right into Jessie's chest, and Jessie never even flinched. Old Doc said that the horn had barely missed Jessie's vitals, and that Jessie was lucky to be alive. I don't think Jessie even knew he was hurt. Talk about tough. I'll never forget the times we rode all the way out to Woods Island to gather strays. Those were long, hard, exhausting days, but those two mules never once weakened. We must have drove cattle back and forth to and from our BLM permit on those mules 100 times. Sometimes we had over 200 head of cattle on those drives, and we always reached our destination with the same number we started with. One time Jessie and I were even used as extras in a local Dodge truck commercial. Those two mules have gone on ahead now, and as I look around the ranch at the faces of those that were left behind, I know in my heart that I will suffer similar future losses in the years to come. In the book of Revelations, chapter 21, verse 5, the Apostle John wrote that there will come a time when the good Lord will make all things new. I take comfort in knowing that someday I will be reunited with every man and creature I was blessed to have shared time and space with. If I've learned one thing at all, I know that I need to cherish every single precious moment.